Okay, so let's talk about something super frustrating. You've done all the hard work, right? You've built this beautiful, ideal customer profile, your ICP, but your outreach campaigns are just falling flat. Sound familiar? Yeah, it's a huge problem. Well, today, we are going to tackle that missing piece, the thing that turns a broad strategy into actual, tangible results. And that's all about finding your niche. I love this quote because it just hits the nail on the head. Your ICP, that's the 10,000-foot view. It gives you the big picture, sure, but it doesn't tell you who to email tomorrow. That's where finding a niche comes in. Think of it like a bridge. It connects your big, broad strategy to the nitty-gritty of an actual campaign, so you can finally get the right message to the right person and, this is key, at exactly the right time. So you might be thinking, why bother? Why not just cast a wide net? Well, there's a really good reason this laser-focused approach works so much better. Let's get into the massive advantages you unlock when you really truly niche down. And look, these four benefits, they're all connected. They all feed into each other. When you sharpen your targeting, your message becomes way more relevant. And what happens then? Boom, your response rates go up. It also makes your life so much easier when it comes to lead sourcing. Suddenly, filtering on LinkedIn or Apollo isn't a bissing game anymore. It's crystal clear. But honestly, the best part? Once you crack the code in one niche, you've got a repeatable system, a playbook you can use to scale over and over again. Okay, so that's the why. You get it, it's powerful. Now let's talk about the how. This next part is all about action. It's the practical playbook you can use to go from that big, kind of vague ICP to a super specific, profitable niche that you can start targeting like today. And the process is surprisingly simple. Just 3 steps. First, we're going to start with what you've already got, your ICP. No need to reinvent the wheel. Then we'll brainstorm all the potential little niches hiding inside that big profile. And finally, and this is so important, we research those ideas to make sure there's real demand and to figure out their biggest pain points. Let's dig into each one. So this brainstorming part, this is where you get to play detective and slice up your big market. Just look at your ICP and think about these categories. Could you go after a specific industry, like fintech or edtech? What about company stage? The problems of a tiny startup are totally different from a huge corporation's problems. Or, hey, maybe it's geography. Maybe you're just focused on SaaS companies in the UK. The whole point here is to break that giant market down into smaller, much more manageable chunks. Okay, you've got a list of ideas. Awesome. But how do you know which ones are actually good? You got to do your homework. You have to research. You're looking for signals, clues that a niche is alive and kicking. Things like funding announcements. A company that just got cash is usually hiring and buying new tools. You should also go hang out where they hang out. Dive into forums like Reddit or Quora. Listen to the exact words they use to describe their problems. Oh, and don't forget, you can use AI tools to help brainstorm and really nail down those niche-specific pain points. It's a game changer. All right, things are getting real now. You've found a niche that looks promising. You've checked that there's demand. Now it's time to stop thinking and start doing. We're moving from theory to action. We're going to test our little hypothesis with a real-world campaign, and then we're going to scale what works. And here's a really important tip. You do not need to build some massive, complicated list to test an idea. Seriously, a small, super focused campaign of about 500 to 1,000 leads, that's the sweet spot. It's just big enough to give you real data, actual numbers on reply rates and meetings, but it's small enough that you're not burning through time and money on something that might be a total flop. The best part about this test is that the data doesn't lie. It gives you a crystal clear answer. A niche that works? You'll see it. You'll get high reply rates, people will actually book meetings, you'll feel that traction. And if you get crickets, well, that low engagement is also a signal. It's a signal that says, hey, this one's not it. Time to move on and test the next idea. You have to let the data be your guide. So, you found a winner. You scaled it up. What now? Do you just stop? No way. The next move is to expand to what we call an adjacent niche. It's basically a very similar market segment that's right next door. So, for example, if you crushed it with ed tech startups, your next logical step might be to take that same winning playbook and apply it to, say, health tech startups. It's such a smart and efficient way to keep growing. Okay, before we finish up, I really want to talk about the 4 biggest mistakes people make here. These are the traps that can totally derail all your hard work. Honestly, knowing what not to do is just as important as knowing what to do. So listen up. Think of this as your how to avoid disaster guide. Trap number 1. Trying to do too much. You have to resist that temptation to test 5 different niches all at the same time. You'll spread yourself way too thin and your data will be a mess. You won't know what's actually working. So just focus. Pick 1, maybe 2 at the absolute most, and stick with them until you get a clear signal. Okay, this next one is so critical. Do not ignore the data. It is so easy to fall in love with an idea. You get this pet niche that you just know should work. But here's the tough truth. Your gut can be wrong. The numbers from your test campaign are the only thing that matters. If a niche isn't performing, you have to have the discipline to say, okay, next, and move on. This next mistake just kills me because it completely undermines the entire strategy. The whole reason you did all this work to find a niche is so you could create a perfectly tailored message for them. So if you find a great niche and then you just blast them with the same generic copy you send everyone else, what was the point? You'll lose all your credibility and your response rates will tank. You have to be specific. And last but not least, a simple business reality check. Don't chase niches that have no money. You might find a group of people with a massive, painful problem that you are the perfect person to solve. But if they can't afford to pay you for that solution, it's not a business, it's a hobby. So always make sure the niche has both a real pain and a real budget. I just want to leave you with this one thought, because it really sums everything up. One good niche is worth far more than 5 untested ones. Remember that. Your goal is not to find every single potential customer on the planet. Your goal is to find one group, just one, that you can serve exceptionally well. And then you build out from there. And to help you get started on this, like right now, we've put together a little something for you. It's a companion niche validation worksheet. You can use it to take all those ideas you brainstorm and actually score them, based on things like market size, the level of pain, the urgency, and of course, the budget. It's the perfect tool to bridge that gap between watching this and actually doing it. So there you have it. That's the framework. The only thing left to do now is to actually do it. So take everything we just talked about, pull up your own ideal customer profile, and ask yourself one simple question. What is the first niche you're going to test? Get started. Thanks so much for tuning in.